Now I've been roving in the northern states where the cotton and the sugar cane grow.
Hello.
But I know
This
most
video
places
covers a
that the
February
southern
2020
states
visit
where
to the
who I
ancestral home of the
really
Mills family
belong.
at Copper Hill
Going
in Floyd
back,
County, Virginia.
going
The
back,
Mills probably lived in this
going
home
back to
from
my
about
country cotton
1910 through the
home,
mid
where the
1930s.
birds and
At
the
the time,
bees
the
and the
property was
trees
planted in
used to
apple
be.
orchards.
Going back
The
to my
orchards are
country
long
cotton
gone,
home.
replaced by woods. The significance of this home is that 4 generations of the Mills family either owned the land or lived in this house. The land was owned by the Connor and Mills families for almost 100 years. My great-grandfather, Peter Jacob Mills, built this house, and my grandmother Sally lived here, and my Aunt Gladys and my father Robert Wickham were probably born here. The land on which this house was originally located was bought by Cornelius Connor in 1837. Cornelius is my great-great-grandfather. The original land title, located at the Floyd County Registrar's office, is somewhat humorous to read. It is interesting how the surveyor measured the boundaries of the property back then, identifying trees and saplings as key boundary points. I think we'd have some issue finding those survey points over 180 years later. In 1858, Cornelius and his wife, Anna Poff Connor, had a daughter and named her China Alice Connor. She married Peter Jacob Mills in 1878. 10 years later, in 1888, Cornelius sold 103 acres of his property to Peter and China. This photo is of the Mills family in about 1907. The family includes Peter and China, along with the 3 of their younger children, Maynard, Tressa, and youngest daughter, Sally. The background seems to be the side of a cabin with hewn logs and chinking construction. The current house on the property is of a different construction of wood frame and siding, so this picture was either taken somewhere else or they had not yet constructed the current house by 1907. Here is the front of the house. It is a large covered porch with turned posts supporting the roof. There are 2 rooms downstairs and 2 rooms upstairs in this portion of the home. A close-up shows that the entry has been reinforced by a piece of plywood put there by later occupants after the porch floorboards started to fail. Note the light bulb socket above the door. This house did have electricity at some point, and there was some PVC pipe that would lead you to believe that there was indoor plumbing of some type installed later, but there is no bathroom inside the house. The south side of the house shows a large extension on the back that is almost as large as the original home. Note that some of the windows are still intact even after decades of abandonment. There is a small porch and an entry door. The back portion is one big room inside. You can see the remains of white paint on this side that has actually held up well over time. A close-up of the side porch shows how thin and dry the floorboards have become. The door on the right goes into an external storage area. Also note how perilous the house is perched on the few remaining field stones that remain as part of the foundation. Now let's go to our first video of the house. Once again, welcome to this house. This is the view from the other corner of the house. It was a pretty substantial house back in the 1900s. You see there, you got the main house at the front there, and then an addition toward the back as the family grew. The north side of the house has suffered more weathering. There is another entry door on this side, giving the home 3 separate entrances. Amazingly, this house is still standing while on a foundation of piled field stones. In places, there are 6-foot gaps where animals have pushed the stones away. The back of the house is on a rock and concrete foundation and is high enough to include an exterior root cellar. It towers over the ravine out back. Looking into the root cellar, you can see shelving that still includes several 1-gallon glass jugs probably contained medicinal alcohol. There is a burn mark on the floor and metal that looks like the remnants of a still. The rock and concrete foundation has stood the test of time, but the house itself has slowly shifted off the foundation. Next, here's an interview with the current owner of the property, Dustin Young. I'm here with Dustin Young. He is now the proud owner of this property. And Dustin, what do you plan on doing here with the property?
Well, for me, I was looking for a place that I could maybe have a retirement home, later on in life. And I fell in love with the property. We kind of cleared a little bit of the area right here for a view, and it's become something that I pretty much fell in love with, and I don't really want to let go of it now. So probably end up building out here eventually. For right now, it's going to be a place for family and friends to be able to experience the wilderness, but also maybe come camp if they'd like or something like that. So,
Great.
Yep.
Right. Justin, thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
For letting me
Thanks
on
for
the
coming
property.
out. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Great grandfather did a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
There is a collapsed outbuilding of unknown use on the north side of the house. It appears to be too large for an outhouse, although no outhouse ruins are visible from the property. The one outbuilding that remains standing is a garage near the entrance to the property. There are 2 swinging doors for vehicle entrance on the left-hand side of this building. Electricity did reach this house at one time, as seen by the transformer still on the pole near the house. Peter passed away in 1934, and the property was sold in 1936 to someone outside the family. China went to live with her daughter, Oki, for the remainder of her life. As we look back one more time, you can see the metal roof of the Mills home in the foreground that has protected it from the elements for over 100 years. It looks over the Blue Ridge Mountains off to the west. I hope this short film is of interest to the family and reminds us of our heritage. Thanks for watching.